they asked another question. Do you know the purpose of your life? Now, the results were really interesting because this case study showed that many people, even though they have the highest level of education, they have high social status, and they're rich, they're actually financially well established, and yet, if they don't know the purpose of their lives, they actually have a hard time navigating life. So another case study showed that about 100,000 books were sold on Amazon about purpose. People are actually striving to know what is their purpose. What is the purpose? Why are we here? What is it about? And subhanAllah, what is so unique about our religion, about the Quran, that Allah Azza wa Jal explicitly spoke about the purpose of life in the Quran. And He said, هُوَ أَنْشَأَكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا. So He said, you have multiple purposes. Obviously, the highest, the top purpose that we have is to actually worship Allah Azza wa Jal, is to get to know Allah Azza wa Jal. And when we get to know Him, we will be able to worship Him. But then another purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about in the Quran, He said, أَنْشَأَكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا. Meaning that He has put us here on this earth to actually establish it, to leave a mark in this world, to leave an impact in this world, to leave a legacy in this world. That's the main purpose. And subhanAllah, one time the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with two of his companions, and a janazah passed by. And the Prophet ﷺ was actually, having this conversation with these two Sahaba. So the two Sahaba started to speak ill about this brother who passed away. How much of an evil he used to be, and how much damage he left behind, and how much pain he used to cause to the people around him. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he heard them saying this, he said, "Wajabat, wajabat, wajabat." So the Sahaba said, like, what even wajabat means? The Prophet ﷺ said, "You spoke too ill about this brother, that hellfire becomes obligatory upon him." And then another janazah passed by, and the Sahaba started to speak very good, high about this brother. How much of a goodness he used to leave in this world. How much of he needs to be in the help and assistance of those who are in true need. How much of a khair he left behind. How much of a legacy he left behind. And the Prophet ﷺ said again, "Wajabat, wajabat, wajabat." You spoke too highly about this brother, that Jannah becomes obligatory upon him. And then he said, you are the witnesses of Allah on this earth. The indication of this hadith, my dear brothers and sisters, is about what kind of actions we're leaving behind. What kind of deeds that we want to follow us in our graves. Once we depart from this dunya, what kind of deeds we want to follow us in our graves? What do we want? What kind of seerah? What kind of reputation? What kind of khayr we want to leave behind? This is a crucial question. I believe that we all should be concerned about this. Once I departure from this life, how do I want to be remembered? Do I want to leave that legacy that people can actually follow and that people can benefit from it, or I just want to be somebody who's completely forgotten, or somebody who people actually insult and curse all day long? SubhanAllah, I will end with this two main points here, SubhanAllah, from our Islamic tradition. The beauty and the virtue of actually leaving a legacy behind. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, listen to this. Prophet Ibrahim, he used to have very difficult time with his father, right? His father was a disbeliever. And Prophet Ibrahim, because he had a beautiful heart, and he wanted to guide his father, right? And he spent all day long, day and night, preaching to his father, trying to bring his father to Islam, to submit to Allah Azza wa Jal. And then, the way he was having this conversation with his father, he used to call him Ya Abati. And in Arabic language, Ya Abati is like a very intimate form to call your father. Just like a very dear form to call your father. Ya Abati la ta'budi shaitan. Oh my dear father, do not worship the devil. Oh my dear father, believe in Allah. He used to have this intimate sigha, this intimate way of communicating with his father. SubhanAllah, fast forward, Prophet Ibrahim got married and had a son. His son is Ismail. And Ismail, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was highlighting that Ismail used the same way, called his father in the same manner that if Prophet Ibrahim used to call his father. So he told him, Ya Abati. Right? And this is the legacy that you leave behind. It's like, you were an amazing son. Now your son will follow this legacy and will treat you the same manner that you used to treat your own father. That's the legacy in this context. But there is another type of legacy, and that's leaving khalif behind. Look at this, subhanAllah. Group of amazing individuals in Dallas, Texas, where I'm from. They traveled with Helping Hand in a project in Kenya. And they're youngers. They went and they were actually, were concerned about digging wells. They wanted to actually bring water to the people that they actually are struggling to find pure water. In certain areas of Kenya, people had to actually walk miles and miles with their containers. And it's a very harsh way to actually go through to get some water so they can come back. They said that it will actually cost them all day long just to go in this trip, getting pure water and coming back. That takes all day to just bring some pure water for their families to drink. Anyway, these amazing individuals, these great minds, they went to Kenya to actually dig wells so it can actually solve this problem. But the problem is that this kind of area, this kind of ground, the nature of the ground, is not equipped to actually be digged in a well fashion, so they failed to dig wells for the people of Kenya. Now it was a big problem. This group of youth came back to Dallas, and they were very disappointed. Very disappointed because they weren't be able to help those people that they're actually in dire need of water. Until one of them came up with an amazing idea. Look at this. Wallahi, that gave me goosebumps. Just every time I speak about this, it shakes me inside. They said there's another way to actually get water, and that is to dig a borehole. So for those who don't know what borehole means, it's basically a huge machine that digs the ground in a much deeper sense than just a normal well. And this way, it can extract more water than a well will do. And subhanAllah, with one borehole, they did this experiment, and 30,000 people were able to drink pure water in Kenya just because of this project. Imagine this. How much effort these people used to struggle to get water. 30,000 people will not do this trip anymore. 30,000 people can actually have a pure water to drink. 30,000 people, their lives got much easier. Billahi alaykum, what an amazing legacy that these amazing young minds came up with. And what an amazing legacy that they're leaving behind. 30,000 people, many families, just with one idea and an effort because they decided to live for a greater purpose. We live in a very individualistic society. Everybody lives for himself or herself. My family, my wants, my desires, my goals, my accomplishments. And then Islam comes and flips the script. It tells you, no, it's not about you. It's not about you. You should live for a greater purpose than yourself. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who will leave a legacy in this world. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh. Before I go to the next speaker, I would like you to think about what's going on these days in the world and think about where you're sitting today. We have to be part of the political system of this country, right? To get involved. I want you, all of you, please sign up. There are a lot of signs out there. Sign up for ICNA members. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's the numbers. We want to make sure that this country knows how many Muslims are here and our voices are heard. So when something happens in this country, you know, that we all are one and we can speak against this. But it all talks about the data. So in order to gather the data, we all have to be one, right? So please make sure, if you're not already a member, please sign up to become a member of ICNA. With that, I'm going to go to our next speaker, Sister Zainab Ansari. She spent a decade studying Farsi Arabic and traditional Islamic, and she has sat with a lot of scholars to learn and then pass on that teaching to the younger generation. She has a long history, but I'm going to let her speak about that.